l'étranger. Cet automne paraîtra le premier single de son prochain album. Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez donc vous lever pour l'interprétation de l'hymne national du Canada avec Michel Turcotte.
Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurons glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God, keep your name glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Recording artist Michel Turcotte with the singing of our national anthem here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres as we edge closer to the sounds we want to hear, and that's the roaring engines of the NASCAR Pinty Series here on this street circuit at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. And as we mentioned, it has been a busy weekend, and it's been a busy weekend with fan interaction as well, because last year, yes, this race did run, however, under heavy COVID protocols, which meant a lot of the fans in the stands, there was only a limited number of fans in the stands at that point, and they couldn't really mix and mingle with the drivers and crews as they have done in the past. And there you can see it's a pretty clear dry race line down this back straightaway. There will be some wet corners, but it'll be some tough decisions for the teams. Do you start on wets or do you start on dries? But it is a pretty dry racetrack at this point. Won't take too long for it to dry up. But as we mentioned, this year, no COVID restrictions at all, and the fans have come back in droves. And not only that, the community has embraced this race and this festival. A full fireworks display in the downtown just last night. Beautiful fireworks. And then, of course, a street festival as well, and the grandstands have been filled all weekend long. Great to see all these smiling faces here back for the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres and the 3 days of festivities that have led up to this point. So the teams are getting squared away in pit lane and will find their pit boxes chosen after qualifying. You can see the DJ Kennington number 17 box getting pushed into place. There's the Dumoulin crew getting set up. You see Marc-Antoine Cameron's team there as well. The number 74, they got that new pit box wrapped up. Kevin Lacroix, the blue, yellow, and white colors of Napa. Brand new colors for Kevin Lacroix. There's crew chief Howie Skinnell for the 84 of Larry Jackson marching towards his pit area to get things all squared away. So it is a little bit of a hurry up because these teams couldn't really do anything during that weather protocol, the lightning protocol. So they all sort of had to sit on their hands in the paddock area, which isn't too far from pit lane. It's, as a matter of fact, just through that fence where you saw everybody walking around. So the team sort of had to hold. The cars were ready but covered in the staging area. And so once the green light was given that the weather delay and the weather hold had been lifted, that's when everybody can get to work, and that's just happening now. So 3:06 is the time that we have. We're expecting potentially cars to start around 3:11. That's the last we've heard from NASCAR at this point. And again, 26 cars in the field here today including a number of former race winners. We've got Kevin Lacroix starting on pole. He's won this race twice. As a matter of fact, he's won all road and street circuits so far this year in 2022. Can he make it a three-peat? We will find out here today. Four-time winner Andrew Ranger and two-time winner LP Dumoulin, along with the 17 of DJ Kennington. They've all won here before. And, of course, the 18 of Alex Tagliani. You can't forget the driver who lives in Montreal now. Three-time winner, including last year, 2021, is when the 18 visited Victory Lane here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. So he's starting in the 5th spot, has a very quick car, and look for him to do big things here today. The only question mark will be that damp and drying track. You can see there's the wet weather tires being hauled out down pit lane, so they do have a tread on them. They look a little bit like a dirt tire, as a matter of fact, from General Tire. They actually hold up pretty well. So the drivers in cars, and they're lining up down the front straightaway. You can see Kevin Lacroix in the 74. There's Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96. There's hometown hero LP Dumoulin. So a number of new faces here at this race in 2022. If you want to call Jacques Villeneuve a new face, of course, he does have some experience here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. But Dominic St. Cyr will be making his very first start. He's a lot of people saying you should watch out for that driver. He's been quick in whatever he drives. He's been racing shifter karts, but he also has superbike experience. And he qualified in the 17th spot, so really coming to grips with this car fairly quickly. Serge Bordeaux making his very first start here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. And just getting an update from NASCAR, this has been deemed a wet race. So the drivers have slick tires on right now. What is going to happen is they will come around down pit lane, and that will give the teams an opportunity to fit their cars up with wet weather tires. And that is how they will start the race. So because it's been declared a wet race start, then that's why they get fitted with rain tires, and they're going to bring them all down so as to give them equal opportunity. And it's not going to be a rush. There won't be any sort of time clock on there. They'll try to hurry them up as quickly as possible, but the drivers and crews will have to figure out things now. You have a dry track set up on your car, but you're going to get fitted for wet weather tires. And how long are you going to need those wet weather tires? You can change at any point. If you feel the track is drying, it is up to the driver's discretion to figure out, do you want to stop and do you want to go to slicks? The only mandatory stop is a fuel stop before lap 50, and a further asterisk to that, you cannot change tires under that same stop. So if you come down for your mandatory fuel stop, but you want to change from wet weather tires to slicks, then you can do that, but you're going to have to make a second pit stop, and that's going to cost you track position. So we have seen some drivers in the past roll the dice and keep going with these wet weather general tires, and they do tend to hold up fairly well. We saw them at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. This track is a little bit more abrasive. It's a little bit harder on brakes and a little bit harder on tires too, so it'll be interesting to see how they wear here on this track. And worthy of note that the track does not have a lot of standing water on it. We saw there are large sections of dry track, as we see even some blue sky peeking out, so some puddled areas. So it is probably going to be just a short stint on wet weather tires unless there's more rain moving into the area, and that could very well be. Let's head back down trackside.
L'invitation traditionnelle à lancer les moteurs, ce sera un travail d'équipe. Nous accueillons l'équipe championne du hockey universitaire canadien en 2022, les Patriotes de l'Université du Québec à Trois Rivieres.
Pilote, démarrez vos moteurs. Drivers, start your engine.
And the field comes to life here on the front straightaway. An antique cannon about to go off. And waiting for it. You just wait for the Army officials to put their fingers in their ears because it's about to make a really loud bang here in a second. Maybe. As the wick burns down, and nothing yet. So that was a little anticlimactic. Oh, there it goes. Still burning. Of course, it got wet, so that was a problem as well. And I will wait to see if it does go off. It'll probably go off at about lap 5. But they used to have a big cannon here provided by the military, but that one is no longer available. So they're trying something new, and unfortunately got a little wet. Dampened their spirits, but we're in good spirits, ready to go for the Rosseau Medals 60 presented by Julio, the NASCAR Pinty Series. The engines have fired here on the front straightaway. And the cars are set to roll. As we mentioned, this will not be a pace lap counts because the cars will head down pit lane and get fitted up with wet weather tires for the start of today's race. There's a good look at the cast Rosseau Medals backed entry, the number 37 of Simon Zion Vienne. Driver runs a part-time schedule in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Had a pretty good run at Autodrome Chaudière when he stopped at his home track in Valley Jonction. Trois Rivieres, Quebec is very close once again to his home track, so he always joins when the show comes to town. After running in the NASCAR Weekly Series at Autodrome Chaudière. The field rolls off and moving along slowly. So this will be the driver's first opportunity to see the facility as it sits after that rainstorm and decide how long they're going to run with those wet weather tires, if they're going to come in and make a pit stop early. See good qualifying efforts from the 98 of Sam Fellows, who is going to roll off in the 12th position. A solid field of NASCAR Pinty Series race cars here this afternoon. And it sounds like these drivers very excited to get things going. Good news is there's not going to be a lot of tires as well. You can see brand new car, the 55 of Serge Bordeaux, Excellence Chrysler. Bordeaux has made the tire wall in practice earlier on yesterday morning, and turn number 8 just overcooked it in turn number 8 and made gentle contact with the tire wall. Just some bodywork damage. He was back out for qualifying towards the end of the day very quickly, so it was an easy and quick fix for the number 55 team as they'll start shotgun on the field. But your pole sitter and quickest in qualifying will be that Napa Auto Parts, number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So it's an opportunity. This pace lap is for the drivers to take a look at their gauges, make sure everything looks okay as they through a pretty dry racetrack, as a matter of fact. There's just some weepers. That's really about it, but NASCAR has decided it is wet enough that they're going to mandate wet weather tires to begin this event. Or that possibly changed. They passed the entrance to pit lane. So it might have dried enough that the declaration of wet race has been lifted. And there is a 0-7. That's Jacques Villeneuve in the Prolong Controls Dodge Challenger. So that car failed to make it the entire way around here on this first pace lap. Getting pushed back to the pit area, so he will in fact get into the paddock area. So you see the double yellow flags being shown. Again, we're not starting just yet. And there's Villeneuve now down pit lane. I can't seem to hear if that engine is running or not, but it looks like it might be problems for the 07 to start things off. Again, that car prepared out of the Dumoulin Competition shop. And the crew goes to work. Bill Burns is the crew chief on that team, former championship winner here in the NASCAR Pinty Series, with Andrew Ranger winning it a couple of times. And getting word that this is the time that the cars will be brought down pit lane. So it is still going to be a wet weather start as the drivers scrub in their tires. Villeneuve with an average finish of 10th here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres after finishing on the podium. However, that did come back in 2013, a race won by DJ Kennington. No wet weather, so it is an updated call from NASCAR as the field moves past the pit entrance. We are going to go green this time by the official word from NASCAR. The track has dried sufficiently. They would have been in contact with the drivers and would ask them how they thought the track was going to hold up, and I bet you the veteran drivers would say it's A-OK. So still showing the caution flag this time by. Looks like next time they will double up and take the green here in the Rosseau Metals. So confirming that the wet weather designation, as you can see, it is a fairly dry track, just spots of wet on this track. So the general tires that are on there are good enough according to the drivers and crews. That's going to be a dicey corner into turn number 3. You see that puddle on the outside, that's right in the braking and turn-in zone, and then you go across a concrete patch that has been patched actually overnight, so they wanted to make it a little bit smoother as the work continues on the 07 of Jacques Villeneuve down pit lane. So that car still unable to fire. The crew trying to get it going, but we will go green this time on the exit of turn number 6. That's when the indication for the field to double up. The lights will go off on the pace car, and we'll go racing here in the Rosseau Metals 60. No lights off on the pace car this time. For the other series that have run so far this weekend, that's generally where it has happened. As we'll take a look at the track map here, and we've talked about some good passing opportunities right into turn number 1. That first right-hander is a good one. You can make a move in turn number 6, or turn number 2, I should say, but turn 6 is definitely a good passing opportunity, as is turn number 9. Again, turn 8, you might be able to force an issue, but the NASCAR Pinty Series drivers, they don't need declared passing zones. If they find a hole, they will go for it. That is 100% guaranteed. So now the field is being brought down pit lane, all single file. So we're being told that we were going to go to green. A very fluid situation. It's a work in progress right now for the Rosseau Metals 60 presented by Julia Wines. We thank you very much for joining us. And so it looks like the field is being brought down not for wet weather tires as we get updated information from the NASCAR officials, but for driver comfort. So to take care of those issues, likely fogging windshields and such. So the crews will be able to work on that and that alone. So I don't believe you're able to make any changes to the cars in advance of the start of the race. And you can see the NASCAR officials are standing by and allowing the teams to take a look. You can see the Alex Tagliani team took one of the brake ducts away, or at least one of the air ducts, and now torquing lug. So I think the teams were told that you're just going to come in and you're going to change to wet tires. So nobody really torqued their tires or torqued their wheels to make sure they would stay on. So now this is exactly what you have to do. I mean, if there's the wet weather tire, you can see the treads on it provided by General. It does look very much like a dirt tire, but it holds up really well and actually works pretty well. We had to run them at the NASCAR Pinty Series race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park earlier this year. Race won by Kevin Lacroix on a last corner pass, a bump and run pass, really, on the 59 of Gary Clute. The 98 of Sam Fellows with a brand new sponsor in Poly Sleep coming on board the AER Curb Records Dodge Challenger, or excuse me, Chevy Camaro. And there you can see the 04 of JF Dumoulin making his very first start of 2022 behind the wheel of that car. Brand new sponsor on board there as he chases potentially a win. Finished third, finished second. Can he win here today? There's his brother, LP Dumoulin, who will have something to say about that for sure, as LP Dumoulin definitely wants to win again here in front of his hometown crowds at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. The Trois Rivieres natives have been celebrities and superstars in the paddock area. They can't walk about 3 steps without being hounded for autographs or at least a chat, somebody patting them on the back, wishing them good luck here today. But the Dumoulins always have time for their fans, and they've used up a lot of that time over the course of this weekend for sure. Matthew Kingsbury back behind the wheel of the 12. Driver we've seen a couple of times this year, but on road courses, or oval courses, I should say. So oval tracks, not necessarily the road or street circuits. He's back here today, and again, he had a pretty good qualifying effort in 13th position. So we'll see what he can do come race time. And the hood's still up on the Prolong Controls 07 of Jacques Villeneuve, Formula One world champion, winner in NASCAR Europe. Little windshield clean going on. The Leland IHL number 64 of Mark Dilley. Just getting these cars prepared for 60 laps of battle. And so the track will be a little bit grimy, a little bit greasy, and will kick up a little bit of that moisture at times. But I've been told by NASCAR Race Control that in the event that rain does come back mid-race, so if that does happen here today, then it is up to the drivers and crews to decide when they want to come in and fit on rain tires. So it's up to them. If another shower pushes through, the radar looks pretty good, but you never know. And it sounds like it might be a battery issue on the 07 of Jacques Villeneuve. So you can hear the team yelling battery. So looking for a spare battery possibly for the Prolong Control 07 of Jacques Villeneuve. The field being told to fire back up and make their way back out onto the racetrack. But that'll be interesting too, to see if a shower does move through, how quick somebody's going to come in and pick up wet weather tires if they so choose. They can stay out on slicks if they want. However, this is a very punishing track and not a lot of runoff area, and there's a lot of concrete lining both sides of this track. There's the 04 of JF Dumoulin, brand new sponsor in the Casino Grand Royale Wallinac and the Omnifab Dodge. So new team announcement, just a limited announcement because it looks like the 04 just going to start here at the GP3R. He possibly will make another start in the 2022 season, but yet to be seen, unconfirmed as of right now. And there's a good look at the 59 of Gary Clute in the new Techwood Dodge. Clute looking for a good run here today. Remember, he was the leader coming to the white flag lap at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and did not win that event after contact from the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So we'll see what he can do here today. One of those dark horse entries, as is Alex Guinnett. And Guinnett, he does have a couple of top 10s here. 7th place finish, but that came all the way back in 2014. He's been pretty strong in the events that he has run so far this season, including at the Toronto Indy, where he came home inside the top 10 in that 39 car prepared out of the Dave Jacobs shop for Moto Limité. That's what you call anticipation on the look of fans as they have been waiting out through this weather delay, and we appreciate your patience as well and sticking with us here this afternoon. I know we were supposed to get things going at 2 o'clock earlier today. However, Mother Nature had different ideas, and a severe thunderstorm blew through. And it was the lightning that was the main concern, and that forced the weather delay here for about an hour, maybe even more. Because of the lightning in the region, they had to put a full stop on operations on track. And then 30 minutes after that final lightning strike is when they declared it safe to open up back on-track activities. And that's where we're at right now. So the drivers working hard to get some heat in those General tires as we continued under very slow pace laps. Right now you can see they can float through turn number 6, and that's an area there. You can see the wall has been pushed back a little bit. The apex does have a big bump in it, but they gave the drivers a little bit of relief by pushing the wall back and opening up that runoff area. If you do make a mistake early, you'll catch the tire wall. But you have the opportunity, if the back end starts to come around just a little bit, that you'll have a bit more runoff area in that turn number 6. And it creates a pretty good passing opportunity as the... There it goes, the 07 of Jacques Villeneuve, a quick tap of the starter. And the Prolon Controls 07 fires up. Now he'll have to work to get some heat in his tires. Don't stall it, Jacques, he doesn't. As I mentioned, former Formula One world champion. He's the guy a lot of these people came to see here today because heavily advertised that Jacques Villeneuve was going to be in attendance, and he's here. But the good news, all that work that happened on pit lane does not mean he'll lose any laps. 2 laps to go before we go green. So 2 more pace laps for these drivers before we finally take the green flag. And again, no laps have counted just yet, but tell you what, they have eaten into the fuel tanks of these NASCAR Pinty Series cars. So if you were planning any sort of strategy around a certain number of pace laps and where you were going to stop and what was going to happen, that's essentially out the window now. Or you're going to have to alter it by a few laps as these cars have been circling around at pace lap speed for about 3 laps now. There'll be about 5 pace laps before we go back to green, or go to green originally here for the Rosseau Metals 60 presented by Julia Wines. So as we mentioned, some of the favorites we're watching here today, you have to look at Kevin Lacroix, who's won both road and street circuit races so far here in 2022. You have to look at the 18 of Alex Tagliani, who's won 3 times. And what about the hometown heroes, and LP and JF Dumoulin? LP has won twice here already. JF Dumoulin coming off a 2nd place podium position in 2021 as now the field lines up 2 by 2. Lacroix, your points leader coming into this event. Just 1 point up on the 17 of DJ Kennington, 5 up on the driver that's starting directly to his left. As they make their way through turn number 9, the pace car is down pit lane. This one's going to be a very strung out start as a lot of the field didn't get the memo that we were going to go to green. You can see the gap back from Dominic St. Cyr. Dexter Stacey finding his way up there as they work onto the front straightaway. The green flag waves, and we are underway here in the Rosseau Medal 60, presented by Julia Wines. A little bit of leaning between Lacroix and Cameron in through 1 and now 2 as Cameron will lead through the Duplessis gates for the first time. Ranger thought about making it too wide through there and then decided to back out of it wisely as they head down the back straightaway for the first time. Look at Dumoulin taking a look, and other Dumoulin, JF Dumoulin now, as he's tucked in behind his brother in the WeatherTech Dodge. The 04 right in there as well. Tagliani still single file just ahead of DJ Kennington. As your leader is now the GM Paille number 96, so Marc-Antoine Cameron, after he got a great start coming off of turn number 11. Drive down into turn number 1. And then he had the preferred position in turn 2. Kevin Lacroix knowing that this is a long race. A lot can happen over 60 laps. Lap 1 completed for your race leader. Marc-Antoine Cameron, obviously the quickest lap of the race so far. As the field comes through, still single file at the front of the field, and that's exactly what they're going to do. As they say that, the 74, that Lacroix Auto Parts, number 74. If Kevin Lacroix looks at, look at that, the Napa Auto Parts, I should say, entry, the 74. Lacroix on the outside, that's a hard move to make as he nearly brushes the tire wall, but he wanted to let Cameron be known that he was there and he wasn't going to just follow in his tire tracks through the early portion of this race. So the Napa car of Kevin Lacroix slots back into second. If they race like this too much, that's going to open the door for the 27 of Andrew Ranger to take advantage. But again, that's lap number 2, and we're already racing like this, taking chances on the outside in turn number 6. Thundering down this front straightaway, headed for turn number 1. JF Dumoulin takes a look in the Omnifab Dodge to the inside of the 47 of LP Dumoulin. There's nothing there for JF as he works single file now through turn number 3, as does your race leader. The 96 holding off the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Good battle there. DJ Kennington is tucked up underneath the 18 of Viagra Saint-Hubert Chevy, and tire lockup this time from the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. You think he's happy sitting saying, oh, there's big problems. Something has gone south and we got a car around. I believe that's Sam Fellows in the 98, backs it into the tire wall. So it looks like the 84, now he refires. You saw flames coming out from underneath that Napa Auto Parts number 74. Something went amiss on the exit of turn number 6. So I thought maybe fluid was down on the racetrack. Not the case. He managed to get it going once again. The 98 of Sam Fellows up against the tire wall. So that is the driver that will be hurt the most. Have another look at what happened to Fellows. Oh, off the nose of Alex Gannett, the Moto Illimité, number 39, got in there a little bit deep, caught that bump, and there is the 74 of Lacroix. You see, he's essentially stopped on the racetrack, and then the shot from behind, you could see some flames from the tailpipe on that 74 car as he tried to refire. Eventually it did click and he got back into gear, but he's lost a tremendous amount of real estate on the racetrack. And Bordeaux heavy into the wall, big damage to the Excellence Chrysler number 55. And that is a waved blue flag. That is a NASCAR rule indicating there is an issue on the track. It is not a local yellow. It's just a heads up to the drivers that there is something going on the track, but I can see that being a full course caution very, very shortly. And now another car, Dominic St. Cyr. So 2 of the first-time drivers in the NASCAR Pinty Series end up in problematic situations here, and this will be a full course caution. There's what happened to Bordeaux inside of TJ Renamato and ran out of room, hard on the brakes, and this is what happened to the 3 of Dominic St. Cyr. He had the wheel turned, it just didn't want to turn for him, so a full course caution now on lap 4 of a scheduled 60, and that is heavy damage to the nose of that Ed Hackinson Racing VR St. Cyr number 3. So your top 3, Cameron, Ranger, and LP Dumoulin, as your pole sitter, Kevin Lacroix, fell back to 8th position. However, this will give him the opportunity to gather up that real estate. There you can see heavy damage to the nose. A brand new race car for Serge Bordeaux. And the 55 is supremely crumpled. Now, he can't see anything because of the hood that is poked up the way it is. He's going to try and get off to the side of the racetrack anyway. And to wait further word from the officials and the track cleanup crew, there is a runoff area, and he has found that. So good news for Serge Bordeaux as he's managed to find that runoff area, and cleanup will be fairly swift as they'll just come through and clean up the bits of debris left behind. But that's got to be a heartbreaking start to your NASCAR career as you look at the inside of your hood covering your windshield for Serge Bordeaux. But the big question mark surrounds Kevin Lacroix right now is what's going on with that race car as it stumbled off of turn number 6. And we can tell you that they had some mechanical issues after practice yesterday. So they finished practice early. Kevin Lacroix saying there is something wrong with the engine on this race car. So the crew went to work, 30-degree temperatures in the pits. It was hot. And they went to work and changed a motor in the afternoon, put a new engine underneath the hood of that 74, and Kevin Lacroix went out and set fast time in qualifying at the 4 o'clock qualifying session for the NASCAR Pinty Series yesterday afternoon. So the car was working very good after that engine swap, but you can see the hiccup off of turn number 6, and he finally did get it going once again, and he slotted in behind the 39 of Alex Gannett. So currently 7th on the racetrack is Kevin Lacroix, your points leader and your pole sitter, I should say. Should tell you, too, that Jacques Villeneuve in the 07 unable to make a lap. So he is classified as out of this race, as will be the 55 of Serge Bordeaux and Dominic St. Cyr. A couple drivers coming down pit lane for service, including the one of J.P. Bergeron. As he makes a few adjustments, the opportunity to make an adjustment, maybe even make your fuel stop during this caution period if you want to. You can make it anytime up to lap 50. So that's the rule. If you need fuel, you can do it now, as long as you think you have enough to make it to the end. And of course, you have to include the possibility of NASCAR overtime. So there's the cleanup crew in turn number 6 as they give an indication to the drivers to keep to the inside over that concrete patch. And there's a significant hump right on the apex of that corner in turn number 6, and that sort of affects. There you can see the drivers moving over it slowly, but you can imagine that at speed and how it upsets the car as you're trying to get back into the power to head down this little short straightaway towards turn 7, which is again a kink, and then into turn number 8. But so strategies being worked out down pit lane. As we take a look at the field, and is that Marc-Antoine Cameron? It is. Your race leader in the GM Paille, number 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron, coming down pit lane. This will be his fuel stop. He has to watch his speed limit down pit lane to make sure that he does not get penalized. Cameron slowly works his way down and finds his pit stall. The crew waiting with that fuel can. And 39 of Alex Gannett going to do the same thing. So an early fuel stop here on lap number 5 for the number 96. The number 39, you saw Ray Jr. Courtemanche also down pit lane. And he will get his fuel as well. So interesting strategy for your race leader. And second place in points coming into this one. Marc-Antoine Cameron 5 points back of Kevin Lacroix coming into this race. Or sure, I should say third place in the points. DJ Kennington is second. Just 1 point back of Kevin Lacroix. Cameron with a couple of wins. Lacroix with a couple of wins as well. But Cameron incurred a penalty at Edmonton International Raceway. Penalty they are appealing. But it cost him 12 points in the standings. So that hands the lead over to Andrew Ranger in the 27, LP Dumoulin, JF Dumoulin. Your top 3, Alex Tagliani, DJ Kennington, Trayton Lapsevich, Matthew Kingsbury in 7th spot, Brandon Watson in 8th, Dexter Stacey is up to 9th, and Larry Jackson running in the 10th spot in that O'Neill Electric. Dodge Challenger, LP Montour, started in the 20th position, is now in 11th. Kevin Lacroix in the 74 is in 12th. No, he's not. Yes, he is in 12th. Actually, a little bit further back. So it looks like Lacroix also made his pit stop as well. I didn't see him make a stop down pit lane. So a fuel stop for Kevin Lacroix as he's in there with the 39 of Alex Gannett. As we wait to see just one timing and scoring stripe for the NASCAR Pinty Series here at the Grand Prix Trois Rivieres. So you have to wait until the field makes it across the start-finish line to see the updated positions as they sit. We have 3 cars out of the race so far. You can see damage to the back of the Velamo, number 2 of TJ Renamoto. So top 3 are consistent. So 27, 47, 04. Tagliani, Kennington, Trayton Lapsevich, Kingsbury, Watson, Stacey, Larry Jackson is the top 10. Then it's LP Montour, Simon Dion-Vienne, Mark Dilley, Glenn Stiers, TJ Renamoto. Lacroix is in 16th position. Gannett, Wallace, Stacey, Marc-Antoine Cameron, Ray Jr. Courtemanche, Gary Clute made his stop. And Sam Fellows, who went for that spin, is in 22nd position. JP Bergeron also made a quick pit stop for adjustments, possibly some fuel. So in 23rd, and that is your running order as it sits right now. Everybody's still on the lead lap, so there will be no free pass car during this caution. And the early caution for a couple of incidents, a spinning number 98 of Sam Fellows in turn number 6. And a spinning Serge Bordeaux who caught the wall on the entrance to turn number 1 after trying to move to the inside of the number 2 of TJ Renamoto, in a move that did not work, unfortunately, for the first timer here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. So as day ends quite early. Jacques Villeneuve also unable to make the start in the 07, so that's disappointing for the Villeneuve fans in attendance. But the field lining up side by side, getting set to go back to green. As they work through turn number 8, the pace car will peel off in turn number 9. Andrew Ranger, a familiar face in victory lane here in the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. Winner 4 times over his career on this track. He hasn't won in a number of years, though. Can today be his day? As you see, Kevin Lacroix is again off the pace. The 74 is slowing and pointing everybody by. So it looks like Kevin Lacroix's troubles continue as the field goes back to green here on the front straightaway. Look at this start for the 04 of JF Dumoulin. up on the outside of his brother, LP Dumoulin, as they go side by side through the Duplessis gates. And only brothers can really do that without leaning on each other, but JF Dumoulin will come out on top in that position, holding second spot. Alex Tagliani tidy there in fourth, just on the back bumper of the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Trayton Lapsevich in the FBM Quick number 20 is now in behind Alex Tagliani. Good run for the youngster and the reigning Johnston's Rookie of the Year. And how about the 9 of Brandon Watson out of the White Motorsports stable? Driving these sheer metal products. GMS number 9. He's comfortably in the top 10, sitting in 8th spot. This is a battle for the lead, though. Andrew Ranger and the 04 of JF Dumoulin, nose to tail into turn number 1. Again, early going, just 9 laps completed of a scheduled 60 here for the Rosseau Medal 60 presented by Julia Wine. Now he has the draft down the straightaway. The 04 of JF Dumoulin tucks to the inside, and it looks like he may come out on top. JF Dumoulin was fast in practice, hard under braking, and he gets there in time, completes the pass well ahead of the turn-in point of turn number 6. So new race leader in JF Dumoulin. That puts Andrew Ranger back to second. Again, it's still very, very early in this race, as the 47 of LP Dumoulin, the 18 of Alex Tagliani, and the 20 of Trayton Lapsevich round out your top 5 as they sit right now. Kevin Lacroix is still on track in 21st position. Your pole sitter in the 74 has had several issues where that car seems to just die suddenly on him, and he does get it going after a couple minutes, but it's been a day of headaches for the driver of the 74 with brand new Napa Auto Parts sponsorship. Great looking wrap on that car as well. But how about another driver bringing a brand new sponsor into the NASCAR Pinty Series? The 04 of JF Dumoulin started 6th here today, driving for Casino Grand Royale Wallanac. And now Trayton Lapsevich comes under heavy pressure from the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington. Kennington not necessarily known as a road or street circuit expert, but he does have a win here in 2013 here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres as he goes side by side with Trayton Lapsevich on the outside of turn number 8. That's a tough place to stick a pass. He was hoping to cross back over, maybe get a run for the inside of turn 9. That is a good passing opportunity. Nose to tail through 10, that quick little right-hander, and now the big left-hander. Turn number 11 onto the front straightaway as LP Dumoulin took a look on the 27 of Andrew Ranger into turn number 1 and backed off. Ranger sailing out the back end of that GM Pie. Oh, we got a big one, and it's Glenn Stiers in the 66 of Wallace Stacy. And that is big damage to both those race cars. You can see the fluid being dumped out on the racetrack, so this will call for a full course caution. And that's exactly what we have. The Bullies truck stop, number 66 of Wallace Stacy, in the GSR Ohsweken Speedway 0 of Glenn Stiers. So Stiers goes around, that's turn 9, and here comes Stacy. Ouch! Stacy was up alongside the outside of TJ Renamato and couldn't get to the brakes in time and came together hard. A head-on collision there in turn number 9 between the rookie Glenn Stiers and the rookie Wallace Stacy, but a couple, and that's big damage as Stacy backs up, tries to pull away from there, but the NASCAR officials and his crew will be telling him through his radio to please wait and not spread any more debris out on the racetrack because they're already past the entrance to pit lane. And you can see that car is already overheating as the field goes by on the outside. The window net down, or going down, on the 0 of Glenn Stiers. Another disappointing finish for the driver in the GSR 0. The next race is the one that Glenn Stiers will be looking forward to. That's the one at his home track at Ohsweken Speedway on the dirt for the first time in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Glenn Stiers has more laps there than probably anybody around, as that track is literally in his backyard. He can sit up in his living room and watch the races on a Friday night, and that's where the NASCAR Pinty Series will be at their next stop here in the 2022 season. So continuing under our second caution flag now, some of the top runners, we're looking at Alex Gannett, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Those drivers have made pit stops. Cameron is back up inside the top 10 in the 96. Gannett is in 12th. Gary Clute made a pit stop. Sam Fellows. JP Bergeron made a pit stop. He's in 15th. Kevin Lacroix is actually back up to 16th now in this incident. And Lacroix has made a pit stop, but he's also made a couple stumbles on the track. Something mechanical is plaguing that 74 car over the course of this event as the cleanup crew arrives on scene. To start cleaning up the issue in turn number 9. So both drivers still in their race cars as the tow trucks arrive on scene. As we mentioned, the race at Ohsweken Speedway will be a Tuesday night race. August 16th is when we go green for that one. There is your race leader, Andrew Ranger, down pit lane. The 84 of Larry Jackson also coming in. There's the 12 of Matthew Kingsbury. Brandon Watson. There's the 13 of LP Montour. Watson down and away. I thought I saw the 04 of Dumoulin. Yes, both the Dumoulin cars came down pit lane. JF Dumoulin being scored in 4th position. Well, your new race leader is the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Alex Gannett in 2nd, Gary Clute in 3rd, JF Dumoulin, Sam Fellows, JP Bergeron, Kevin Lacroix back up to 7th, Mark Dilley, TJ Renamoto, and Ray Jr. Courtemanche. That is your top 10 as they cross the stripe this time. So there is the driver who was your race leader at the time of this caution. Actually, no, he was 2nd. I made a mistake. The 04 of JF Bergeron, or JF Dumoulin, I'll get it eventually, was your race leader. So the 27 of Andrew Ranger came into the pits in 2nd spot. He's now back out on track. Here's the action in the early going. Hard on the brakes for the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. And that's where the car started to sputter. You see, he lost a number of positions. Watch in the back, under the back bumper. So Sam Fellows goes around. Then on the same lap, the 55 of Serge Bordeaux goes into the wall. And on the same lap, the 3 car of Dominic St. Cyr hits the tire wall in turn number 6. The restart really went in favor of the 04 of JF Dumoulin, as he used the inside in turn number 1 to get around the 47 of LP Dumoulin, and then down the back straightaway after following for a couple of laps. He did manage to pass the GM Paille number 27 of Andrew Ranger, and this is the incident that drew the most recent caution, a big hit between the 0 who spun, Glenn Stiers, and Wallace Stacey, who came in secondary in the 66. So both cars needing help off the racetrack right now, but mandatory fuel stops out of the way for the majority of the field. As the sunshine makes a return to this wonderful facility once again after 2 straight days of sunshine, and then unfortunate weather delayed the start of the NASCAR Pinty Series and the Rosseau Metals 60 presented by Julia Wines. We have 14 laps completed now as these caution laps do count. But this is, again, the change of top spot before that caution. So this was under the green flag as the 04 of J.F. Dumoulin moves underneath the 27. And Andrew Ranger knows this. He's a veteran racer. He's been around the NASCAR Pinty series. He's won the championship several times. As a matter of fact, he's won 4 times here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. He's finished second 7 times. He knows lap number 9 is not the time to force the issue in turn number 6. So if the 04 is quicker right now, that's fine. Let him go. And that's exactly what the driver, the 27, did. And of course, after making his pit stop, Andrew Ranger lines up again in 14th position. J.F. Dumoulin, I think they came down and they took a quick splash of fuel. And that's the start of the pass off of turn number 3 as they headed down the back straightaway in through, that is theoretically turn number 4, which is pretty much a kink on this back chute. So the field working to get some heat in their tires as we have coming up on 15 laps complete. Mark Dilley in the Leland IHL number 64 will head down pit lane. Dilley was running in the 8th position the last time past the stripes, so it looks like now is his opportunity to make his pit stop and take on some fuel as the light's still on the pace car. As the field continues to cycle around. Single file, but it was a significant impact in turn number 9 with fluid down from both those race cars. So this is probably why it's a bit of a delayed restart as you see fuel going in the 64 of Mark Dilley. And so his time in the pits will be done with that stop. And that was the Viagra Saint-Hubert NTN bearings number 18 of Alex Tagliani buzzing through as well. So he's catching up to the tail of the field. Looks like Tagliani has made his stop as well. So some drivers deciding to come in very early. That's Simon Dion-Vienne, who's had a tough day. He was in 21st position, continues to be on pit lane. He's 1 lap down to the race leader. So Dion-Vienne will try to salvage a finish. Trayton Lapsevich has also made his pit stop. He's currently running in 20th position after Lapsevich was inside the top 5. Coming up to that last caution, you can see Lapsevich in the black and white entry just entering the top of your screen on that last shot as the field will line up 2 by 2. This is probably the closest start that we've had. Not even counting the initial start. That one was very strung out, but in turn number 8 is when they were told to double up, and that doesn't leave you much time to get to your starting position. This time, though, it'll be Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96 lining up to the inside as they go to turn number 1. Alex Gannett in the 39 will line up side on the outside, and the 59 of Gary Clute will restart third beside Sam Fellows in the 98 as the green flag waves, and we're back underway. Look at Stacy in the 92 well to the inside as he puts that Bullies truck stop number 92 inside the top 5, slotting in front of the Napa Auto Parts number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Single file through turn number 3 in the Duplessis gates. Single file now down the backstretch as you see a couple of drivers making a move, and it's Alex Gannett, that Ford Fusion, starts to move to the inside. Then the outside as the Moto Limité number 39 sizes up your race leader, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Boy, that's an interesting move from Alex Gannett. Again, a driver who has 1 top 10 finish here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres, but it came way back in 2014. A driver who has matured a ton since then, and he's having quietly steady runs in the starts that he has made so far in 2022 at the Honda Indy Toronto. And you know that car is well prepared out of the Dave Jacobs shop, so he does have a very capable chance of winning here today in the Rosseau Medal 60 presented by Julia Wines. How about Gary Clute in the new Techwood 59 sitting in third spot? That's where we expect to see the driver out of Halton Hills, Ontario. He started ninth, which would be down the order compared to where we normally see Gary Clute on a road or street circuit. And look at Lacroix start to make a move. Up alongside Dexter Stacey goes to Napa Auto Parts, number 74. And the 04 of JF Dumoulin slides alongside JP Bergeron. So Marc Dumoulin back up inside the top 10 comfortably now as he moves to 7th position. Just in behind the 92 Bullies Truck Stop Chevrolet of Dexter Stacey. Bergeron having a good run though in that Ford Mustang modeled car, so the only Ford Mustang in the field. That one also prepared out of the Dave Jacob Racing Shop. Black flag being shown at the start finish line, but for who? So that is an interesting turn of events as the flag shown to one of the drivers, and the message will be relayed through the spotters to the teams to one of those top 5 drivers who will have to make a pit stop for a penalty. Stacey now in the 92 taking a look at the 74 of Kevin Lacroix as the leaders still continue single file. 18 laps in the books. We're working on completing lap 19 as we cross the stripe this time. Dumoulin to the pits in the 04. So JF Dumoulin will take this opportunity to head down pit lane. So maybe he did not make his fuel stop. I thought he took just a quick splash and was out in pretty much record time, dropping just a couple of positions. But it looks like Dumoulin in that Casino Grand Royale Wallinac Omnifab Dodge heads down pit lane. Still Marc-Antoine Cameron, your leader, ahead of Alex Gannett, Gary Clute, Sam Fellows, Kevin Lacroix, Dexter Stacey, JP Bergeron, Andrew Ranger, DJ Kennington, and Ray Jr. Courtemanche in the 8 rounds out the top 10 as they run right now. And it looks like a black flag might be coming for the 47 of LP Dumoulin. That's his crew, and they're definitely negotiating with the NASCAR officials down pit lane, but he wasn't in that lead group. JF Dumoulin comes out back on track in 18th position. LP Dumoulin currently marked in 14th spot behind the 9 of Brandon Watson. So we'll see what happens as they pass the flag stand this time. No flags waving for any of the top drivers. You can see something hanging out the back of the 59 of Gary Clute on the right-hand side, but the pressure is picking up now on the AER Polysleep. Curb Records number 98 of Sam Fellows, as he has a very racy 74 of Kevin Lacroix filling up his rearview mirror. Lacroix will be able to draft. Now he moves to the inside. Fellows is going to try and fight him off for a little while, and that's a smart move. Fellows will relinquish that position, so move the 74 up into 4th position now, as Kevin Lacroix appears to have those mechanical gremlins sorted, and he is mounting a charge. We can tell you, though, JF Dumoulin has just set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:08.0. A 1:08.08 is quicker than Marc-Antoine Cameron's 1:08.09. But JF Dumoulin, after taking on a small load of fuel down pit lane, is going to try and make his charge back up through this field. You can't count on caution flags or potential. We know this track usually breeds a few more cautions, but we have had long stretches of green flag racing in the past. And it appears as though the drivers are settling into something like that right now as we work on completing lap 22. We have 5 drivers currently out of this race of the 26 starters here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Glenn Stiers, Wallace Stacy, Dominic St. Cyr, Serge Bordeaux, and Jacques Villeneuve unable to make the start. And there's Simon Dion-Vienne back down pit lane. He is 2 laps down to your race leader. Will be 1 lap down as he crosses the stripe the next time. But the leaders are coming as they work their way through turn number 10, now 11. And they're on the same straightaway as Simon Dion-Vienne. Still in that tidy 3-car group at the front of the field. And there goes Simon Dion-Vienne, released just as the leaders go by. So he is now officially 2 laps down to Marc-Antoine Cameron and the GM Paillet, number 96. Oh no, problems. The 74. Kevin Lacroix, we thought he was making a charge back up through the field, and look at that, a thrown steering wheel in disgust as he had that new livery unveiled here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. And the belts coming off for the driver, the 74. You can see the international symbol of "We are done," telling the safety officials in what appeared to be turn number 2. He pulled off into the runoff area. So Kevin Lacroix with issues all day long. It dropped him back in the running order. He battled back up into the top 5. And now here as we complete lap 24, the drive is done for the driver of the Napa Auto Parts Dodge Challenger. Kevin Lacroix, one of the favorites in the pole sitter today. Not only that, your points leader coming into today's event is now out, and that is a huge blow when you take a look at point implications, because Marc-Antoine Cameron is now leading this race. Again, he came into this one just 5 points back from the 74. So if all stays the same right now, Marc-Antoine Cameron will be your new points leader, leaving the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. There is still a lot of racing left to be completed. DJ Kennington is in the 7th position. But is that smoke showing from the... No, that's Simon Dion-Vienne, the other Castrol Dodge out on track. So that looks to be like big problems for Simon Dion-Vienne. That smoke emanating from the what appears to be the exhaust pipes on that Dodge Challenger, as the Castrol Edge Dodge, the 17 of DJ Kennington, will tuck underneath the 18 Alex Tagliani, the 47 of LP Dumoulin. They managed to make it through, no doubt. Simon Dion-Vienne will be called to the pit lane this time by after heavy smoke showing through the tight and twisty bits in turn number 10. No flag yet, but Tagliani moves to the inside, turn number 1. Watch Kennington, though. He can stick at turn 2. No, he's going to back off just a little bit. So Tagliani up to 7th spot in the Viagra Saint-Hubert, number 18. Kennington and LP Dumoulin 8th and 9th. Matthew Kingsbury in the 12, just ahead of the 04 of JF Dumoulin. And there, oh, Kingsbury into the tire wall in turn number 6. I was just taking a look at timing and scoring to see the gap between Kingsbury and JF Dumoulin, and now it is nothing because the rookie in the Duro King, number 12, stuffs it into the tire wall in turn number 6. Heartbreak, and that's that bump in concrete patch in turn number 6 that is so difficult if you're just a little bit offline. Just a hop and a bounce, and the Duro King Dodge ends up in the tire wall. Look at Trayton Lapsevich was on the outside of the 37 of Simon Dion-Vienne. They had to slow right down to avoid crashing into the number 12 of Matthew Kingsbury as he drops down the running order. I believe, yes, he is moving, so no caution And he continues on, classified in 17th position right now, but he may be pulling in, as this appears to be a race of attrition. As we haven't even crossed the halfway mark here in the Rosseau Medals 60, presented by Julia Wines. So Tagliani will next see the back end of the one of J.P. Bergeron. And that'll be the next car that he'll need to catch up to. And there's Bergeron just ahead. You can see the back end of that Ford Mustang. The Prolon controls Rosseau Medals. So this is a race that J.P. Bergeron really does want to do well at and impress his sponsor program. And so he's trying his hardest to get up to the front, lead some laps here as the 47 of LP Dumoulin in the WeatherTech Dodge makes quick work of the 18 of Alex Tagliani. So move that WeatherTech Belmar Dodge now up into 7th position, chasing 6th place J.P. Bergeron. So the lead built up at the front of the field. Marc-Antoine Cameron continues to pace. It's just over a second now over Alex Gannett. And the 59 of Gary Kloot, with Sam Fellows in the 98 still hanging on to a top 5 position. Fellows in 4th spot ahead of the 27 of Andrew Ranger. What a run for Sam Fellows. Clicking off lap times, as a matter of fact, quicker than Andrew Ranger that last time by. Ranger is about 7 seconds further back than the 98 of Sam Fellows, so he's got some work to do to catch the driver of the AER Curb Records Chevrolet. But look at how quickly Dumoulin has been able to catch the back end of the Prolon Rosseau #1 of J.P. Bergeron. Bergeron still relatively new to road and street circuits. He cut his racing teeth racing late models in Quebec and down through the U.S. Jumped in to the NASCAR Pinty Series here this year. Despite the fact he does not have a rookie stripe on the back end of that Ford Mustang, we can tell you he is one of the Jostens Rookie of the Year contenders, and that is a tight battle, as well as a 47. Got very close to the inside wall in turn #1. Look at Bergeron hanging on the outside, making contact with the WeatherTech Dodge as they head towards turn #3. Side by side, will they? They will. And it looks like Dumoulin trying to hang it on the outside, and here comes Tag to take advantage of that little miscue from the veteran LP Dumoulin, as Tagliani in the Saint-Hubert Viagra #18 on the inside turn #6. This is all behind J.P. Bergeron. Bergeron in 6th position. Head of Tagliani, Dumoulin, and DJ Kennington. And now look at that. Turn #9 is a great passing opportunity, and 2 drivers decided to take advantage of that. Tagliani saw the hole. Dumoulin followed him through, and that is what you get when you turn a lot of laps here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. You get experience, and you see when those holes open, and you know when to attack. And it looks like on our official timing and scoring, there's an issue with the transponder on the 1 of J.P. Bergeron. He's now fallen down the running order, but we can tell you he is battling for position with the 47, the 18, and the 17. And there you can see towards the back of the 59 of Gary Kloot in the new Tech Woods Dodge Challenger. That is the exhaust system. It appears to be the exhaust pipe hanging out the side of that Dodge Challenger, and it's been there realistically since the drop of the green. So something has come loose, but it doesn't seem to be affecting performance as the 59 of Kloot is able to keep pace with the two cars in front of him, Alex Guenette and Marc-Antoine Cameron, your race leaders. We hit the halfway mark, 30 laps in, 30 to go. So the big story of the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres is always brakes. Drivers always concerned about maintaining their brakes and what that does as a result of overheating your brakes. You overheat the tire or the wheel rim, and that melts the bead of the tire, and you run the risk of cutting down a tire or the air going out of these general tires. So that is all a result of abusing your brakes and working too hard on your braking system. So there is elaborate cooling systems at the front of these race cars, fans and pipes and ducting to try and direct the air towards the calipers and towards the rotors to get those areas cooled down. Some have even tried to direct some of that air to the beads of the tire to make sure that those don't overheat. But now as we get into the second half of the race, that all becomes a factor. Who has been pushing too hard? Who has been abusing their brakes? Who has been abusing their tires as well? Remember, you don't officially have to stop for tires. You can, but it's not a mandatory stop for tires. All the NASCAR officials say it was optional, and if you did stop for tires, you could not stop at the same time you went for your mandatory fuel stop. So if you stop for fuel, you can't take tires in that same stoppage. You could come back around if it was a caution and take tires then, but you don't have to. So you can finish on the same tires that you start this race with, and a lot of these drivers will do exactly that as Dumoulin takes a peek into turn number 6. That hard braking zone, and you can see there is several bumps that affect that braking zone as Bergeron slides through turn number 6. I think he caught the tire wall just at the top of the screen. The driver of the Ford Mustang was in that battle with DJ Kennington just ahead of JF Dumoulin as well. As we stay with Alex Tagliani and LP Dumoulin as they work around the Valamo number 2 of TJ Renamato. You remember the last time out in Saskatoon, TJ Renamato making heavy contact with the outside wall. He admitted it was a pretty tough lick, but he was all right. He was happy to get back in the car and looking forward to this race here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. TJ Renamato currently in 16th place on the racetrack. Already marked as one lap down to your race leaders. Marc-Antoine Cameron, Alex Guenette, Gary Kloot. That is your top 3, and 1.6 seconds separate those 3 drivers. Sam Fellows 8.9 seconds back of your race leader, but still in 4th spot. Andrew Ranger, Alex Tagliani, LP Dumoulin, DJ Kennington, JF Dumoulin, all there as well. Waiting to see an update on the 1 of Bergie, JP Bergeron, in the Rosseau Metals Prolonged Controlled. I don't know if he caught the tire wall or if it just came very, very close, but he was very crooked through turn number 6 a couple of laps ago. He was just in behind this battle as we watch on track a battle for 6th position. But again, the distance to get up to Andrew Ranger is quite a significant one. You can see they are on the same short chute as they exit turn number 2. They can see the back end of the GM high number 27 of Andrew Ranger now on the same straightaway, but not close enough to catch a sniff of the draft. There's Ranger. He hits that bump that indicates the start of the braking zone for these NASCAR Pinty Series cars. Couple more rumble strips there through the braking zone, and then you hit that bump on the apex of turn number 6. It kicks you a bit to the outside. You're trying hard to get the power down because you need the run down this straightaway through that kink that is turn number 7 and into turn number 8. Again, floating the car through here, trying to obey the track limit rules. You can't really go too far into the green unless you're really trying to gather it up. The NASCAR officials will be watching and paying attention, making sure that is not abused, the track limits, as we take a look at a couple of youngsters Trayton Lapcevich, Brandon Watson battling for 10th position. Lapcevich has it. And it looks like J.F. Bergeron might be out of this one. He's currently classified in 18th position. So the 18 of Alex Tagliani getting an update from pit lane. He was the one who was penalized, received the black flag. He came in and put 4 tires on as his stop. So he has 4 fresh tires compared to anybody else in the field. Nobody else has put tires on at this point except for the 18 of Alex Tagliani. So he is up in 6th spot. And looking at lap times now, Tagliani is one of the quickest cars on the track in a 108.7 area. So yeah, he'd be the quickest the last time by. LP Dumoulin nearly as quick. There's a 108.7, a little bit quicker than Tagliani, as a matter of fact. So the new tires no longer making a difference for the Viagra Saint-Hubert Chevrolet of Alex Tagliani. But there's your race leader, the man from St. Leonard d'Aston. Marc-Antoine Cameron has visited victory lane twice already here in 2022, and the battle that we've been following is for 6th and 7th position. Tagliani is currently listed in 6th position. LP Dumoulin in 7th. JF Dumoulin is down in 8th position. DJ Kennington 9th. Then you have Trayton Lapcevich and Brandon Watson battling over that 10th spot. So Cameron, Gannett, and Klutz, your top 3. And they're very much in front of the rest of the field. As you can see, the laps continuing to click off. 24 laps remaining here in the Rosseau Medal 60, presented by Julia Wines, the NASCAR Pinty Series here on the 52nd edition of the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres. There goes Klute. And you can't even see 4th place Sam Fellows in the same camera shot, still peeking ahead. You can't see him because Fellows is 11 seconds further back than this lead trio, and they are moving. Now they have their fuel stop completed. All 3 of these drivers came in on lap 5 to take on fuel. So that is the strategy they wanted to play. An early stop, as they felt that was the way the window had opened, and that was the earliest they could take fuel and still get to the final distance and the 60-lap completion here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. So it's been interesting to see how this is all playing out. Sam Fellows again holding on to that 4th spot. Ranger, Tagliani, LP Dumoulin. JF Dumoulin is a little bit further back, though. About 10 seconds back further from LP Dumoulin in this battle between Tagliani and Dumoulin. As they seem to have settled things out, they're going to go single file for a little while, see if they can go Andrew Ranger hunting and track down 5th place. As I say that, here comes LP Dumoulin in the braking zone, turn number 6. He fans out hard under braking. Now he'll slot back in single file as the cars come into some slower traffic just ahead. You can see the 12 of Matthew Kingsbury is back out on track making some laps. He's listed as 3 laps down to your race leaders. And Dumoulin is all over the back of Alex Tagliani. 10 is not a good spot to make a move. You see, it's sort of a jut out wall, but if you go to the outside and then apex that, it's more of a kink corner as far as a right-hander goes here on the streets of Trois Rivieres, Quebec. There is Andrew Ranger, and there's the gap back to the 18 of Alex Tagliani. Ranger in 5th, Tagliani 6th. LP Dumoulin holding down the 7th position, but it is still Marc-Antoine Cameron leading Alex Gannett in the 39. Gannett, as we mentioned, has run well here in the past as the 47 car finally gets a run up along the inside of the 18 of Alex Tagliani and will complete that pass. So it looks like Ranger has caught the 98 of Sam Fellows. That is the car just ahead of the 27. So Ranger has managed to reel in Fellows in that Polysleep AER Chevrolet. So the battle for fourth is going to heat up very shortly. That's the two cars just heading out of your frame at the top of your screen, but we continue to watch local hero LP Dumoulin in the WeatherTech Belmar number 47, running in sixth position now as he managed to get around the 18 of Alex Tagliani. Easing through turn number one, now two, and you can see the gap opening up between LP. So LP was a little bit quicker than the 18 of Tagliani. Tag will just have to sort of settle in and follow that WeatherTech Dodge now, as they are two very fast cars, amongst the quickest on track. LP Dumoulin actually set the fastest lap of any car that last time by. And so now you see Ranger has caught up to the 98 of Sam Fellows as we continue to focus in on the three-time winner here at the Grand Prix Trois Rivieres, Alex Tagliani. There is your current race leader in the GM Paille number 96. Marc-Antoine Cambrin, Alex Guinnett, and Gary Clute all still within striking distance. As a matter of fact, Guinnett is half a second back than last time they crossed the stripe. 1.9 seconds back. Actually 3 seconds back as the timing and scoring gets updated to Gary Clute in the 59. You can see some cars showing some battle scars. That was the 12 of Matthew Kingsbury. They made a stop, made sure the wheels were pointed in the right direction, tore off the right front fender, buttoned up the hood a little bit, and sent it back out. Now he's battling with the 64 of Mark Dilley. Dilley currently listed in 15th position. One lap down to your race leader. How about this run by Sam Fellows, though? He has been inside the top 5 for the last 30 laps or so. This is by far his best run of his career in the NASCAR Pinty Series. In that AER Curb Records Polysleep number 98. So you can see the gap now built up behind the 47 of LP Dumoulin, and a little bit of dark cloud starting to build overhead as well, as we'll be keeping an eye on that weather for you. Less than 20 laps to go that last time they crossed the stripe, as Andrew Ranger still looking for a way around the number 98 of Sam Fellows, but the 47 of LP Dumoulin has been closing on that battle, as Dumoulin looking for 5th spot. He takes a peek just to catch the attention of Andrew Ranger in the 27 as they move towards turn number 6. Now off of 6, he does the same down that straightaway into turn number 8 through the kink that is turn 7. This is turn 8. Sliding it off the corner as they so often do. Turn 9 is a passing opportunity, but Sam Fellows does a good job at defending. Now they'll go 3 cars single file through turn number 10 and back onto the front straightaway. Dumoulin chasing the 27 of Andrew Ranger and Sam Fellows. So the gap is 0.4 of a second between Ranger and Fellows, 0.3 of a second between Dumoulin and Ranger the last time they crossed the stripe. But wow, look at that run by the 98 of Sam Fellows. Continues to hold off. Keep in mind, the two drivers that are chasing the 98, Sam Fellows has never won here in the NASCAR Pinty Series, as now Ranger makes a bold move to the inside in the brake zone in turn number 6. Fellows will whoa up and let him have that spot and try and fight back down here towards turn number 7, but he's got the 47 of LP Dumoulin to contend with as well. Dumoulin is going to paste it to the inside in turn number 8. So Sam Fellows goes from 4th to 6th in just a couple of corners. But I was just going to say, if you look at who is following as Kingsbury, now something goes amiss in the back end of that car as it starts crabbing off of turn number 10 through 11. You can see that car not tracking very straight at all, but the two drivers just ahead of Sam Fellows. Andrew Ranger's got 4 wins here. LP Dumoulin has 2 wins here. Now the driver behind him, Alex Tagliani, has 3 wins here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. So you're in some pretty rich company here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Sam Fellows sitting in 6th position last time he crossed the stripe. So let's look at that gap between Gary Clute and Andrew Ranger. Now that Ranger is in 4th spot, a full course caution, so the 12 did not make it to a runoff area. Matthew Kingsbury was slowing. You could see that car was difficult to control. It snapped loose in turn number 10. I don't know if he made contact with another area of the racetrack, but a full course caution called, and this is great news for drivers like Andrew Ranger, LP Dumoulin, Alex Tagliani, Sam Fellows. It puts them right back in the mix. They were 11 seconds back of this lead trio, and this is the caution that these drivers do not want to see. Cameron, Gannett, and Clute had built up such a heavy lead as Cameron looks for his first win in a NASCAR Pinty Series car here in the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. And there is the Duro King Dodge of Matthew Kingsbury. And that's at the exit of pit lane. So I think he backed up and was able to get to that exit of pit lane. So almost a self cleanup. As we continue under a full course caution. So your leader continues to be Marc-Antoine Cameron, with Alex Gannett, Gary Clute, Andrew Ranger, LP Dumoulin just in behind. So a couple of drivers coming down pit lane. The 9 of Brandon Watson. There goes the O'Neill Electric number 84 of Larry Jackson. You see Trayton Lapsevich, the 1 of JP Bergeron, also down pit lane. So Bergeron not out of this one. I think it is a problem with his transponder, as he had continued on track. We looked at timing and scoring. Did not see him in the Rosseau Medals number 1 for quite some time. Here on the live feed, I was trying to find him on the timing and scoring, and he dropped way off. So I think there's an issue with his transponder. And looks like the 84 of Larry Jackson experiencing some sort of battery problem. So that's where the battery is located on that Dodge Challenger. And that was Howie Scannell Jr., his crew chief, going to work trying to make repairs there as new tires go on the sheer metal products number 9 of Brandon Watson. So this is an interesting turn of events with 15 laps to go here in the Rosseau Metals 60 presented by Julia Wines. So Cameron did stay out, so did Gannett, and so did Gary Clute. Down and away goes the number 9, Brandon Watson, rookie here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. He's getting some driving tips from Robin Buck earlier on, a former winner here in the NASCAR Pinty Series on the streets of Trois Rivieres, Quebec. So Buck just giving him an idea of where a good braking zone was, some bumps to watch out for. It's hard to tell a driver exactly what to do, but you can give them an indication of what they need to do to go fast. As you hear right side first as the 22 Racing crew for Alex Tagliani looks ready for new General tires. Tagliani was in 7th position. And as it stands right now, I believe there's only 17 cars still on the racetrack. So this will drop you down the running order just a little bit. See a couple drivers we haven't seen so much of, but having decent runs. Ray Jr. Courtemanche in the 8, LP Montour in the 13. Also DJ Kennington, we saw a little bit of him. He's inside the top 10, sitting in 9th and looking for a pretty good points day. One of the drivers who was quick early on, but has sort of tapered off a little bit after making a fuel stop, the 04 of JF Dumoulin. So we'll see what this caution period will do for that car and see if Dumoulin can re-enter the mix here at the front of the field. But drivers now weaving side to side, keep some heat in their General tires. And we continue under a full course caution. A stalled number 12 of Matthew Kingsbury. Kingsbury was several laps down to the leader after making contact with the tire wall in turn number 6. He patched up the car, got back out there, but something else went amiss in the back end of that car, and it started to sort of crab walk. So the back end was wanting to pass the front end even at low speed, so it made it difficult to control. He came to a stop on the front straightaway just on the exit of pit lane, and that drew the full course caution. But the cleanup should be complete very shortly. We should be able to go back to green. Again, these caution laps do count. As we've got 14 laps to go, there'll be 13 the next time we cross the stripe, as DJ Kennington in the 17 takes a look for pit lane this time around. So possibly some tires going on the Castrol Edge Dodge, looking to improve his track position towards the end of this one. But you know, judging on previous experience, both here at the Grand Prix of Trois Rivieres, and a red flag now being shown on the field. So stopping the cars on track. And so something bigger happening than just a stalled number 12. So trying to find out exactly why this red flag was needed. As the field comes to a stop, the engines shut off here on the front straightaway. See Cameron ahead of the 39 of Alex Gannett. And the 59 of Gary Klutz. But again, trying to get the information from NASCAR officials as to, there's no clear reason why we would need a red flag at this point. Not like the track was blocked with a major collision, but have a look at what has happened in this race so far. 25 cars took the initial start. Jacques Villeneuve unable to make that initial green flag in the 07 Prolon Controls Dodge Challenger. And another Dodge Challenger went to the front and tried to get back to the front early, but then mechanical gremlins crept up for the Napa Auto Parts number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. No oil on the track, but it was just a spin by Sam Fellows into the tire wall. That one was into the concrete wall for Serge Bordeaux. This one was for Dominic St. Cyr in the VR St. Cyr number 3, ending in the tire wall in turn number 6. So those drivers had their days end early, the 55 and the 3. We went back to green with a very racy Dumoulin clan just behind the 27 of Andrew Ranger. And then you saw a quick point to the outside. So Ranger did indicate to the 04 of Dumoulin, you are quicker, go ahead, you can take it. And then this is a big incident in turn number 9, a huge hit between the 0 of Glenn Stiers and the 66 of Wallace Stacey. And as we went back to green, you can see the top 3 cars are all single file. Dumoulin crew talked to the NASCAR officials as JF Dumoulin came down to make his pit stop, or possibly that was the reason it was a drive-through penalty for the 04. And so it was an issue with the scoring system. That was the reason for the red flag, but we saw some great battles deeper in the field. The top 3 were checking out at this point. But first it was J.P. Bergeron, then it was the 47 of L.P. Dumoulin and the 18 of Alex Tagliani. And then Andrew Ranger finally tracked down the number 98 of Sam Fellows. He brought along the 47 of L.P. Dumoulin. And then the red flag called for a short stoppage. The field rolling once again. With now 13 laps remaining, you can see a couple cars showing some battle wounds and scars. And this is going to be a regular Saturday night dash for cash here at the GP3R. Again, DJ Kennington heading for pit lane as he tried to do just as that red flag was coming out. So, as we told you, the one car of J.P. Bergeron did have a transponder issue, so he's now marked in 9th position. So that is where the one car sits in the running order. And we are seeing some raindrops, reports of raindrops in pit lane with 12 laps to go. This is going to make things interesting. To finish off the Rosseau Medal 60 presented by Julia Wines. As a few drops starting to fall, not really hard enough yet. To effect, yeah, the windshield wiper is on the 18 of Alex Tagliani. Can see some moisture on the front window of the 9 of Brandon Watson as well. So it appears to be raining in more places than just the entrance to pit lane. Well, the drivers have fitted slicks. Some of the drivers came through and got brand new slick tires. As you can see, some damage to the front of the 13 of LP Montour. Montour currently in 13th position, ahead of Trayton Lapsevich, DJ Kennington. And TJ Rinomato will be the car that will be released, stuck in traffic, so he'll be able to jump ahead and tag on to the back of the pack. As a matter of fact, as one lap down, he should be the free pass car during this caution period as the field lines up 2 by 2 through turn number 8 and 9. And we'll look to go back to green. When we do hit the stripe, there will be 11 laps to go. And this is going to get very exciting. We have seen several places where raindrops have been falling. Green flag is back up, and look at the two front runners leaning on each other as they head towards turn number 1. Gannett trying to hold the 96 down. He can't do it. Now, can Gannett hold on to second as Clute gets together with the 27 of Andrew Ranger? Clute is bumped out of the way. Ranger goes to third. Oh, and now Dumoulin comes through, and a bump back from Clute on the back end of Ranger. Into the wall goes the GM Paille, number 27 of Andrew Ranger, leaving bodywork in his wake as the new Techwood, number 59, seemed to have enough. His patience wearing thin, and debris rains onto the racetrack from the back of the Ranger, number 27. Have another look. Clute in the 59 to the inside of turn number 3, and hard on the brakes, but just couldn't get that 59 to stop in time. And making contact with the back end of the GM Paille, number 27, and heavy contact into the tire wall as Clute does manage to get stopped in time before he makes heavy contact with the tire wall in turn number 3. But those two drivers did get together coming into turn number 2, and it was a pretty significant hit. Clute got bounced up in the air as they sort of locked wheels. Full course caution for that debris, possibly for the 59. We're checking to see if he did manage to get going. Look at LP Dumoulin. He made contact with the 27 of Ranger to push him to the outside in turn number 3, and then here comes Clute down low. That's the contact that sent the 27 around as Clute winds up against the tire wall himself. So it looks like Clute was trying. Did Clute get a bump from behind? He did. The 04 got into the back bumper of the 59 of Clute. So JF Dumoulin, and I thought that might have been a little bit of payback from what happened in turn number 2, but it doesn't appear to be the case. It looks like Clute was hard on the brakes, trying to stop to avoid contact with the 9, and the 04 came barreling through, made contact with the back end of the 59 and sent Clute into the 27 of Ranger. Ranger goes around. Maybe even Dumoulin had some help too with Tagliani on his back bumper. So one of those chain reaction events as you go through a very tight section of turns here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. The drivers all know turn 3 is a challenge. And that's exactly why the problems are starts and restarts. Once the field gets separated and spread out a little bit, you see some damage to the nose of Brandon Watson, as Watson is currently in 10th position. Ray Quartermash Jr. is inside the top 10, as is Larry Jackson. Jackson in 8th spot. Ray Jr. Quartermash in 9th. Sam Fellows still holding on to 7th position. And JP Bergeron up to 6th in the 1. He will happily boast that he is not a road race expert, that he is just trying to do the best he can at the finish of these races and learn as much as he can. Well, he's going to school today, knocking on the door of a top 5 finish in that Dave Jacobs Racing prepared Prolon Controls Rosseau Metals number 1. So full course caution for the cleanup of the debris from Andrew Ranger as he lost all of his body work at the back end of that race car. And the 27 down pit lane, he's going to get fitted with some new tires. The NASCAR officials checking to make sure everything stays where it should be. The biggest issue was the fuel filler nozzle. Now they don't have to put any more gas into it, which is good news for Andrew Ranger. They can just tape it up and out of the way. New General tires going on. And the NASCAR officials having a good look, and no, they don't want to release that 27. So it looks like Andrew Ranger might be called back in to pit lane after the inspection officials on the back end of that race car possibly see something amiss. All the while, though, we continue under caution with Marc-Antoine Cameron, your race leader. Shake-up at the front. Gary Clute was sitting in third for so many laps, and it looks like Clute unable to continue. He's still marked in the 14th position as it stands right now. We'll have a look to see if he's on track. There is the 20 of Trayton Lapsevich, DJ Kennington, LP Montour. And there is Clute. So damage to the nose of the 59, the new Techwood 59. So he is able to continue on. Although at the back of this lead group, so Clute will have some hustling to do to get it back up to the front and salvage a pretty good points day. But at this point, all the pretty is gone from that race car. You don't have to worry about it anymore, Gary. You can try and work your way back up to the front. After his, what looked to be a sure podium position before this string of cautions, the top three had really opened up a significant gap, about 11 seconds on the rest of the field, as Cameron, Gannett, and Clute had just followed single file through that long green flag run through the middle portion of this race. And then a caution came out, and that really shook things up, especially in the world of both Andrew Ranger and Gary Clute. But LP Dumoulin, Alex Tagliani, JF Dumoulin still up inside the top 5 and in striking distance now. But you saw a pretty aggressive start from both Cameron and Alex Gannett as the 27 of Andrew Ranger back down pit lane. I think they needed a new deck lid on that car. It has to have a spoiler, I believe. As per the rules, the car cannot go out without a rear spoiler, so that one came off the Zero car driven by Glenn Stiers, and crew going to work with a couple rolls of 100-mile-an-hour tape. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to stay put for these final 8 laps, as Andrew Ranger had really inched his way back up into this points battle after a very successful Western road trip. Didn't come away with any victories, but did come away with several podium finishes, including a 3rd place in Edmonton and a pair of 2nd place finishes in Saskatoon. 11 points back coming into this event. In 5th spot in points, but you have to remember the 74, your points leader, failed to finish this one because of mechanical problems on the 74. That's not something we say very often, as Gary Clute, who was last in that line, will come down and he will get some new General tires, at least one on the right side. They're going to do 2 right side tires at least first, possibly 4 brand new General tires for the new Techwood team. It is going to be a 4-tire stop, so Clute's going to have some shiny new boots on that Dodge Challenger as we get set to go back to green. It is going to be a very short dash. We continue under caution. There'll be 6 laps to go the next time they cross the stripe. And we appreciate you joining us here for the Rosseau Metals 60 presented by Julia Wines here at the 52nd running of the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. This race came with a lot of hype. Unfortunately, a little delay to start things off because of a weather hold. We had a severe thunderstorm blow through very quickly. Dropped a lot of rain in a little amount of time. And the weather delay was for lightning in the area. So that puts an immediate hold on any work that goes on the track or in the paddock area. And so that was lifted. We got going about an hour after the scheduled start was supposed to happen here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. But you can see the field lining up 2 by 2. Vastly shorter field, as attrition really has taken a toll here on the NASCAR Pinty Series at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. As the 27 car of Andrew Ranger, there comes the 59 of Gary Clute as well. He'll tag into his spot, as it still is the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron and the 39 of Alex Gannett. They're side by side. Again, a few more scuffs of the tire to make sure They're clean as they get set to go back to green here on the front straightaway. There'll be 6 laps to go as the green flag waves, and we're back underway. Another strong start from Cameron. Can Gannett hold it on the outside? He hazed the tires under braking. Dumoulin's going to try and storm through on the outside in turn number 2. They're going to be side by side into turn 3. It didn't work one time ago. Will it go this time? Gannett's on the inside. Dumoulin's outside. They make it through cleanly. But Gannett holds on to second, and look at J.F. Dumoulin now in the 04, up alongside his brother. And around the 47 goes the 04. Into third spot is J.F. Dumoulin. LP back to fourth. Sam Fellows in fifth spot. Still raining lightly according to officials on pit lane. But the driver's not worried about that right now. Look at how tight it is at the front. Alex Gannett so hungry for his first win in the NASCAR Pinty Series. The Moto Illimité number 39 is all over the back bumper. The 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron. A driver running a full season to a driver just running road and street circuits. And they're fighting hard into turn number 1. They're bumping and banging. Look at the 04 take advantage. Big blocks being put up by the 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron, as Gannett definitely had the advantage. A bump, and now to the inside in turn number 3 goes Gannett. And he makes it stick. And again, another pass underneath another Dumoulin as the 2 Dumoulins touched on the exit of turn number 3. This is exciting with 5 laps to go. J.F. Dumoulin taking a look, turn 6. He won't make it work, but he bumps the 39 and he stays there. Continues to rub. Allows the 39 to exit. A little wave out of the window. I'm not sure if he used all his fingers or just the most important one from Alex Gannett, as that fight really has let the leader get out in front. And again, in turn number 9, a bump to the back of the 39. 2 part-time drivers going at it, hammer and tong here for second spot. LP Dumoulin wisely backing out of this one, as it's going to continue into turn number 1. You can guarantee that. Gannett to the inside. Dumoulin's going to back off and follow him through into turn 2. Gannett will hold that inside lane and maintain position in second spot. Holy cow, business is picking up as the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron sets sail. He's watching this all unfold in his rearview mirror. Again in turn number 6. This is where Dumoulin has been pretty good. No bump this time. Oh, it is. There's the bump in turn 6. Trying to wiggle the 39 of Alex Gannett. Now they'll go single file down through turn number 7 into 8. Another passing opportunity presents itself there, but Gannett strong through that area, or is he? He wiggles 9. Now Dumoulin will have the inside in turn number 9. Oh, one small error in turn number 8 has cost the 39 1 spot, maybe 2. 3 laps to go as they cross the stripe, and now it is J.F. Dumoulin who has clean air ahead of him to try and catch your race leader, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Can tell you, Dumoulin was about 0.4 of a second quicker that last time by compared to the lap put in by your race leader. So Dumoulin with 3 laps, can he close it? Can he get there? Now LP Dumoulin is all over the back of the 39 of Gannett. That turn 6 seems to be an issue for Alex Gannett as he battles alongside the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin. Alex Tagliani is in there too. They talked about stopping for tires. Did the Tagliani crew? He never did. So he maintained that track position and is inside the top 5 in the Viagra Saint-Hubert number 18. Look at the front of the field though. The gap is getting smaller between Cameron and Dumoulin. Dumoulin wants so much to win this race in his home city. He finished 3rd, he finished 2nd. Can he win this one here in 2022? He's now so close. 0.7 of a second quicker was the 04 compared to the GM Paye number 96. Marc-Antoine Cameron down the back straightaway for the second last time. And now Dumoulin goes to the inside. Cameron was trying to run that defensive lane, but Dumoulin has him. Outbreaks into turn number 6. Cameron has to concede the position as they slide it off at turn number 6. Here comes LP Dumoulin. Can it be a 1-2 finish for Dumoulin Competition in their home race? Cameron wants to spoil this Dumoulin party. In the 96, a little bump in turn number 9. He gets to the inside. They'll bump again. The 04 into the wall. And back across. He takes out his brother. The Dumoulin cars crash together in turn number 10. And they will see the white flag this time by. So this may make this race official. No white flag. Caution is out. They were supposed to see the white flag. Look at that knotted up 04 of JF Dumoulin. Oh my Lord, what a race at the front of the field. Cameron made contact with the 04, made contact with the wall, came back across and caught his brother, the 47 WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin. I don't know if my voice is ever going to recover from this race. What a race here in the dying moments of the Rosseau Medals 60 presented by Julia Wines. And you can see damage now to the front end of the 27 of Andrew Ranger. Ranger is currently marked in 8th position. Gary Clute back up to 9th. And there you can see a battered 04. That was a heavy hit, actually, both sides for the 04, JF Dumoulin. And he has to be heartbroken in that driver's seat. The Grand Royale Casino Woliak Omnifab Dodge was so strong, biding his time through the middle portion of this race. A late caution came, and that's when that 04 came alive again. He was quicker than the 96. Made contact with Marc-Antoine Cameron at times. You can see a broken radiator as the shower of water coming out the front end of the Dodge Challenger. And look at the right front wheel bent right up. Front end of the chassis damaged as well. That gives you an idea of just how hard the 04 hit. And now you can see JF Dumoulin will jump out. Good news is he is okay, as he was able to refire and keep going. He crossed the stripe to pick up another lap. Currently marked in 16th position. And that looks like it will be the place that he will finish here today. The drivers in behind: Mark Dilley, Matthew Kingsbury, 20 and 21 laps down. So it looks like Dumoulin will come home 16th here today, as a couple drivers having very, very good days, and it looks like a red flag will be shown. This one for oil cleanup on the racetrack, and a frustrated JF Dumoulin is giving a thumbs up to his crowd, because the hometown crowd will support them no matter what. And the Dumoulin brothers, as I mentioned, they were superheroes in the pit. So you can see the red flag will be shown for the second time here today during this race. This one for oil cleanup on the racetrack. So the damage to the 04 significant in turn 10 through turn 11, and now down on the front straightaway as well. Have another look at how this all started. You saw the 96 get to the inside in turn number 9, the exit of turn 9. That's where we made contact as the 04 came back across his nose. So could the 96 have backed out? Probably, but it's the end of a race in the NASCAR Pinty Series at the GP3R. Do you back out? Probably not. So contact made, then to the one wall, across to the other, and didn't make it to that wall because he hit the 47 of LP Dumoulin. So LP Dumoulin did manage to get going again. You saw him spin back around and get going. So the contact was really from driver's door back. And there you can see the mark on the driver's door where the 04 hit. But that left rear tire is still up, and LP Dumoulin is currently marked in 6th position, just behind the 1 of JP Bergeron. But again, another shakeup at the front of the field. DJ Kennington up inside the top 5 in the 17. Again, having a quietly solid points day. So now Kennington stands to gain a lot on the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Again, Lacroix marked in 19th position. That will be where he finishes here today in that 74 after mechanical difficulties. Ended his day early. That's your top 3. Gannett, Cameron, and Alex Tagliani. As we have a red flag on the field for cleanup of oil after an incident involving both Dumoulin cars, the 04 and the 47. On the exit of started on the exit of turn number 9, it continued into turn number 10. And the field comes to a rest now, shutting off their engines. The drivers will get a chance to take a breather as we're going to have a quick dash to the checkers when things get organized again. We were almost at that white flag. Had they seen the white flag, this race would have been completed. But the leader did not take the white flag. The caution came out. So that will allow another attempt. Look at, that's an afternoon of racing here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. Look at the damage on all 4 of those race cars in that shot. You have damage to the driver's door, the 47 of LP Dumoulin, damage to the nose of Trayton Lapsevich, who has had essentially a quiet afternoon sitting in 7th spot. He's done very, very well. And then we noted the incident involving the 59 and the 27. Andrew Ranger getting damage to the back end, the nose of the 59 getting heavy damage, and what looked to be payback, but then upon further review, it was just a logjam going into turn number 3, and the 04 got into the back of the 59 of Gary Clute. He really had no way of slowing down at that point. He was hard on the brakes and got into the back corner of the 27 of Andrew Ranger, sending both those cars into the tire wall. The 04 on the flatbed. So that part of the cleanup has completed. And again, the big concern is oil down on the racetrack. So want to make sure that's all cleaned up, especially if you're going for a dash for the win. Which is exactly what they'll be doing here. I believe it will be a green-white checker when we go back to racing here to settle it. There you can see the 84 O'Neill Electric entry. Larry Jackson, he barely has a mark on that race car, so he has survived all of the incidents. Sam Fellows has had a quietly decent day inside the top 5 for most of it. Currently finds himself in 13th position behind the 8 of Ray Jr. Quartermanche, who also is having a good day. LP Montour started in 20th position in that 13 car. You see he has damage to the nose, the Kamloops Chevy. But Jackson, who is running in 10th, is up 9 spots from his starting position. After starting 19th, so the 84 and the 13 really sort of set sail through the field. I think most of it is just avoiding collisions and calamities at times during this race and able to pass cars like that. But we still have a few players in the mix in this one, including all 4 of those drivers you see. 5, if you want to call J.P. Bergeron in there as well in that picture. That's the nose of the black car. So these are your top 5 drivers. As we went to that red flag, you can see the back end of that Ford Fusion, the Moto Limité number 39 of Alex Guenette. He was getting worked over by the 04, but he did a little working over himself as well, trying to get back around the 04 of JF Dumoulin when they were battling for second position, and that allowed the 96 to get out in front in the Paillet Chevrolet. Marc-Antoine Cameron then came under fire from the 04 of Dumoulin as we take a look at from that last restart. So some bold moves. The 39 of Guenette going side by side with a couple of Dumoulins on a couple of occasions through that turn 3. There's a couple bumps as we saw play out in turn number 6. Eventually, the 04 did get around. He tracked down the 96, a clean pass into turn number 6, but Marc-Antoine Cameron wasn't content to sit and watch this race from second place. A bump in turn number 9. That opened the door. Here comes Cameron, and there's where it goes bad. A hit to the inside and a bigger hit to the outside. Oh, the 47 actually caught the inside of turn 10 as well. I didn't notice that until that replay just now. The 04 actually pushed him into the inside of turn number 10, so there could be more significant damage. On that 47, we'll have to see when they go back green how bad it could be, but the one Rosseau Prolon Controls Ford Mustang of J.P. Bergeron is having a banner day, set for a career best finish inside the top 5 here in the one car. Car prepared out of the Dave Jacobs Racing Stables. He's had some coaching driving on road courses by Alex LeBay, former NASCAR Pinty Series champion, current competitor in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So LeBay has been giving him some pointers, gone out for some testing days at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and other places, but J.P. Bergeron says, I have about 4 races under my belt on a road course. He was out in the Sportsman Modified, but said that was a handful. You couldn't really take too much from that race and apply it to the Pinty Series race, but he really has been a quick study here today and pieced himself together a very solid run. DJ Kennington as well in the Castrol Edge Dodge. You see him up against the wall on the inside alongside the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Alex Tagliani. Tagliani coming off a race win in Saskatoon in the second of 2 twin 125s at Sutherland Automotive Speedway. So he came in on a high as far as his confidence level goes in the Quick Fast Wheels NTN Bearings Viagra Chevy. But Alex Guenette, will he be able to hold off Marc-Antoine Cameron? We've already seen that Marc-Antoine Cameron will not be shy to lay a bumper to a competitor in front of him if it means getting back to the race lead. But will he do it to the 39, or does he have enough to catch the 39 of Alex Guenette when we go back to green? The 47 of LP Dumoulin. There's the 27 of Andrew Ranger, still in the mix despite all that damage to that race car. The 27, he had to stop and get a new deck lid. That one is actually off the 0 of Glenn Stiers. Stiers crashed out earlier after spinning and then getting collected by the 66 of Wallace Stacy. So the crew actually went to the paddock area, ripped off that deck lid. It's got the GSR Ohsweken Speedway logos on the back. Here you can see Andrew Ranger giving a wave to the cameras, possibly to Trayton Lapcevich as well, as Lapcevich lines up alongside him. As the oil cleanup has completed. So the caution flag is displayed here on the fields, and that'll allow them to move. We'll have a couple pace laps to get some heat back in these tires, as these cars have been sitting for just a little while. Make sure all the cars fires, no penalty. If your car does not refire, you're allowed a bump start. We've seen it in the past, and you're allowed to resume your position. Okay. Now when push comes to shove, who do you have as your favorites in a final dash here at the GP3R? And we're being told a green-white checker will be the way this will be settled, so it will be an edition of NASCAR overtime when we go back to green. So a couple laps to settle it, potentially. We could have more attempts if we need it. Look at the damage to the nose of the 27 of Andrew Ranger. That car is used up, both front and back. But Ranger still sits inside the top 10 in 8th position. Some damage to the nose of that GMS number 9 of Brandon Watson, again the leader in the Johnston's Rookie of the Year battle, battling with JP Bergeron, but Bergeron stands to gain a few points in that battle as he sits currently in 5th position. Question marks around the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin, Canada driver that came in 8 points out of the points lead, and he had given up in the points championship after Newfoundland, said, I'm just going to go chase wins. I'm not going to worry about a championship. All of a sudden, championship picture became a little bit clearer for Dumoulin after the Western road trip. Solid finishes in Edmonton and the 2 in Saskatoon. Man, he was just 8 points back of the points leader, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. We've documented already the issues that Kevin Lacroix has had all day. And now the field will line up 2 by 2. So getting set to go back to green for a green-white checker finish here in the Rosseau Metals 60, presented by Julia Wines. You can see that 47 car is not tracking very straight, so something is amiss in the back end. We'll see if it holds together for a couple more laps. It is Alex Gannett chasing his first NASCAR Pinty Series win. Cameron looking for his first win on the streets of Trois Rivieres in the NASCAR Pinty Series. The green flag waves once again, and we're back underway. Gannett clear going into turn number 1. He locks up, and problems on the 96 as he drags the chassis, so maybe a tire down for Marc-Antoine Cameron. You saw sparks coming from underneath the GM Paille 96. A car to the wall in turn number 2, and it's Ranger and Gary Clute again. These two cars have been connected by crazy glue, and that back end of that GM Paille number 27 is definitely a miss. Look at the walk on the rear end as it looks like Ranger might be able to get to the runoff area, so we're going to avoid a caution as Gannett continues to lead Marc-Antoine Cameron. Now Alex Tagliani ahead of the 17 of DJ Kennington as Trayton Lapcevich moves to the inside of JP Bergeron in a battle for 5th spot. Gannett had cooked it hard into turn number 1, but it looks like a tire might be going down on the 96. Can Cameron hold on for second and get a really good point stay? White flag is out, so this will finish it, whether or not we have another incident. Cameron pushing like a dump truck in through turn number 1. Good news for him, there's not many right-hand turns to navigate here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. Tagliani's all over the back of him. Look at Kennington hunting there like the veteran he is. Trayton Lapsevich has moved up and could potentially fight for a podium position. Bergeron's off the pace in the 1. Something's gone wrong on that Ford Mustang as Kennington moves alongside the 18. Clear Alex Tagliani. So Kennington back into a potential podium spot. Cameron holds on to second. Here comes another right turn very shortly. Turn number 9's the left-hander. Turn 10 is the right-hander that Cameron will have problems with. Gannett is all by himself, though. This is a battle for second. Gannett off of 11. He'll win his first in the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. DJ Kennington will cross the stripe in second. Marc-Antoine Cameron will hold on to third. What a race here in the Rosseau Medals 60 presented by Julia Wines. And what a race for that young man to win his first in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Alex Gannett getting a big congratulations from DJ Kennington. Gannett has run a long time in this series, and there you can see a result of the issues affecting the 47 of LP Dumoulin. That's in turn number 8. So that hit he took to the inside of turn number 10 after contact with the 04 of JF Dumoulin. Eventually that right rear assembly, the wheel assembly, decided to break free, couldn't hold on for the last 2 laps. But wow, this is going to be a celebration in victory lane for that driver, Alex Gannett. And disappointment for the 2 Dumoulin brothers here in their home race. You can see frustration as LP Dumoulin throws the steering wheel onto the dash. In a race that was well within his grasp. And that's justified frustration for LP Dumoulin. He just an innocent bystander in a crash that happened in front of him. Thought he was through, but unfortunately the 04 collected him. But how about this drive? Alex Gannett doing everything he needed to do all race long. As we went into NASCAR overtime, he almost overcooked it into turn number 1 on that final restart. But come and get the checkered flag. You have earned it today. Gannett starting back in the 10th position. His previous best run here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres came back in 2014. It was 7th. He showed great speed the last time we ran on a street circuit in Toronto. And he's upped his game even more, racing in front of a hometown crowd or home province crowd. The driver from Terrebonne, Quebec is going to tear it down. Guaranteed there will be donuts here in turn number 1 as he makes his victory lap with the Sunoco checkered flag. No donuts for Alex Gannett, not, at least not in turn number 1. He's still cheering. Man, it's been a long time coming for that driver. And how about the Dave Jacobs Racing team as well? They get to visit victory lane once again. Big congratulations to Dave, a veteran of the sport, driver who jumped out of the seat when Andrew Ranger came along, and he's had other champions in there as well, including Alex Labay, and Alex Gannett decided to do a part-time program with backing from Moto Illimité, just concentrating on the road and street circuits. He missed the original one or the opener, I should say, at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park because of a non-COVID related illness. It was sort of heartbreaking for that team. He came back so strong on the streets of Toronto, and even better here. And to finish off the rest of the season, we're going to make a stop at Circuit iCar, another stop at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as well. So a couple more road courses coming up. That's JP Bergeron leaning in. A big congratulations. And Bergeron, something went wrong with that car. Is officially marked in 13th position down the back straightaway for the final time. The one car, something broke loose, and teammates give a congratulations on the track as the crew goes to clean up. So there is a little bit of cleanup to happen here on the racetrack with several cars parked around the 2.5 kilometer, 11 turn circuit. That's one of them, the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin. Remember, there's a couple of cars parked off in turn number 2, and Kevin Lacroix, Mark Dilley pulled off there as well as the victory lap continues now for Alex Guinnett. He's soaking up every minute of this one, and why not? The DLGL number 39 from Terrebonne, Quebec, onto the front chute once again. He's not even ready to go down pit lane. You can see everybody else is loaded up, ready to go to the podium. He might just drive there himself. The NASCAR and TSN crew is ready to greet him when they get to the podium in turn number 1. Car working down the front straightaway, and maybe now is the time that Alex Guinnett will fire off some of those winner's donuts. As he talks to the NASCAR official, he's like, where can I do my donuts? I want to do some of those, and here he goes. Hangs on to the checkered flag, and now he lights it up. This is the burn down that we thought was going to come with the first victory lap from the 39 of Alex Guinnett. Right in front. This is where the grandstands are the steepest here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. The VIP suites lined up into turn number 1 as well. So it's a great opportunity to give a treat to the crowd, the supporters who have waited through rain and a weather delay to start things off earlier on today, and then a few drops here and there towards the end of this race. And then, of course, a thrilling finish on so many levels. So this will shake up the point standings. I believe DJ Kennington will come out the points leader. Marc-Antoine Cameron will get some bonus points for leading, so it might even be tied. Kennington coming home second, Cameron third, Tagliani in fourth. So those drivers will jump up in the points race. So will Trayton Lapsevich. Sam Bellows, a career best 6th place finish here today. And LP Montour, a 7th place finish. So a good run for him. Larry Jackson in the top 10 and 8th. Ray Jr. Courtemanche coming home in 9th spot. Then TJ Renamato. That is a career best for that driver as he went a lap down, got a free pass, and came back, solid 10th place finish. He'll be happy with that. And TJ Renamato, one of the nicest guys you will meet in the NASCAR Pinty Series paddock. Gary Clute, Brandon Watson, the 2 other finishers in 11th and 12th. Then JP Bergeron and LP Dumoulin along with Andrew Ranger are drivers who failed to finish after incidents on that last lap. JP Bergeron, I don't think made contact with anybody, but the back end of that car was looking funny. As he hops out, there it is. That is going to be a sweet party in the Dave Jacobs Racing pits here tonight with Alex Gannett, his friends, family, and crew. A lot of them here today, not too far from Terrebonne, Quebec, where he calls home, living in Montreal lately, so just about an hour and a half drive up the road as he gets the interview done with the French language RDS first here in Victory Lane. It looks like emotion in the eyes of Alex Gannett. He knows how important it is. He's tried so hard to win one of these races, and it's been so long. He has been close on a couple of occasions, but hasn't yet been able to put together the full package and come out on top. Trying to hear the French language interview and see what Alex Gannett has to say here today, but thanking his friends and family and Dave Jacobs Racing, all his sponsors, of course, helped him get him to this point. And it's great to see a new face in Victory Lane, and we've had a really interesting, diverse cast of characters here in Victory Lane all season long. As a matter of fact, we've only had a pair of two-time winners in Kevin Lacroix and Marc-Antoine Cameron. Cameron was trying to make it a three-peat here in 2022. He cut down a left front tire, likely with contact of that 04 car. There's Dominic Fougere, the promoter here at the Grand Prix Trois Rivieres, in with DJ Kennington, who snuck past the 96 to Marc-Antoine Cameron at the start-finish line, finishing under 0.2 of a second ahead of the 96 at the end of the day. And it was a long race in a NASCAR Pinty Series stock car here in the heat at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. You can see it on the faces of these drivers. It's a draining day for sure. They'll get lots of hydration when they get back to the paddock area, but DJ Kennington all smiles. And a driver not normally known for his prowess on road and street circuits, but DJ Kennington now with a win, a podium here at the GP3R. Is exactly what he needed to do when it comes to the point standings coming into this one, especially with problems for the number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Kennington capitalizes with a very, very good points day. There will be a driver who will be a little bit disappointed with his run as J.C. Paillet jumps in. A big hug and a congratulations for Marc-Antoine Cameron. And Cameron coming home in third spot today. And for him, with that tire going down on the left side, it was more a case of survival than anything else. But the GM Paillet crew bringing out a large contingent of fans. As a matter of fact, they had a merchandise stand set up here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. And so it looked like there were new GM Paillet fans in the crowd as of this weekend. But they are a passionate group that follow around Marc-Antoine Cameron, Andrew Ranger from coast to coast here in the NASCAR Pinty Series. So getting the victory podium squared away, and we'll have an opportunity to See the trophies handed out here for the top 3 finishers in the Rosseau Medals 60 presented by Julia Wines. But what a day after about an hour delay to get things going because of a weather system that moved through and lightning, heavy rain. We started under dry conditions despite a few patches of wetness, but it wasn't the wetness that was the story. It was the aggression level in the NASCAR Pinty series. Bumps and bruises, and there was the hit that eventually took out both Dumoulin brothers. What a day for the driver of the number 39. Alex Guenette visited victory lane for the first time in his NASCAR Pinty series career. From all of us here at NASCAR on TSN, I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you very much for joining us for the NASCAR Pinty Series here at the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres. What a race and what a finish. There will be stories to tell for weeks after this one, for sure, as the podium is set up. And now getting set for the champagne spraying.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous allons maintenant procéder à la
Here
cérémonie
in Victory Lane
de la course NASCAR Pinty. Pour honorer le pilote qui a terminé 3e, j'invite de la compagnie
starting with third place,
Monsieur Marc Bergeron. En 3e position, il est de Saint-Léonard d'Aston, Marc-Antoine Camiran.
Marc Bergeron handing out the trophies to the winners as Marc-Antoine Camiran all smiles as he heads to the podium. It's a good points day. It's not a win for the GM Paillet driver, the number 96, but it's a good solid points day for Marc-Antoine Camiran as he'll play the hat dance here on the podium. Yannick Gervais is going to hand out the trophy for the second place finisher.
Un habitué du Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, DJ Kennington.
To the veteran DJ Kennington, and Kennington is quite a bit thinner. Did a lot of work on his health in the offseason as his son Chase up there with him on the podium. Big smiles all around. As Kennington sort of surprised everybody by being there right at the end, but that's what DJ Kennington does. He keeps his nose clean, and he just gets solid finishes. After a win in Saskatoon, and now a second place here at the GP3R, the points complexion will be changed dramatically. And there is your race winner. Big smile and big cheer for the driver of the 39, Alex Guenette.
Mesdames, Messieurs, ceci complète la cérémonie protocolaire de la course NASCAR Pinty. Restez avec nous pour la prochaine épreuve au programme dans la catégorie Légende modifiée.
So we do have one more race to go here at the GP3R to finish things up, but photos being taken here on the podium. Big smiles all around, and Alex Guenette wants to play it up for sure as the winner here today. Once again, folks, thanks very much for joining us. I'm Dave Bradley. What a race it's been. As Alex Guenette celebrates atop the podium, gets sprayed by the champagne. DJ Kennington pours a little down the suit of Marc-Antoine Camiran. All smiles from the top 3 finishers. I'm Dave Bradley. For the rest of the crew, thanks very much for joining us. And once again, if you're sticking around on Motorsport TV, we have the Legends coming up here, the final race of the weekend for the Grand Prix de Trois Rivieres.